Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to make a St. Patrick's Day card for my sister, so I hope you'll stay tuned. It ought to be lots of fun. The first thing we're going to do is cut out a shamrock embossed folder. We have to run it through the die cut machine first, and then we're going to do some coloring on it and then put it on our card. And then after that, I bought these Jolee Boutique St. Patrick's Day themed embellishments, and I really like this one that says luck and this banner. And I use cream cardstock because of this. I'm not sure if it's going to look great or not, but I also use cream cardstock. This is the 110-pound Recollections that I'm going to be using in our embossing folder. So let's do that first. So the first thing we're going to do is ink up our embossed image. I don't know if you can see the shamrocks on there or not, but I can. And I'm going to use this color box ink. I just re-inked it and got most of it on my hands. I'm not sure how that works. If the rest of you have an idea of how to actually hit the pad and not my hand, could you give me that in the comments? Actually, that's rhetorical. I really don't need that information. You know, I'm just kind of a sloppy crafter. That's my whole issue. So we're just going to take my really grubby ink pad and we're going to wipe it across the center of our shamrocky background, and I'm just going to go really gently over this because I don't want the green to go between the shamrocks if I can avoid it. And this is really waxy. I'm not sure if all of them, when they're re-inked, have the same problem mine had, but when I re-inked it, the ink came out with this, I think it was like the, maybe glycerin that came out of it. Didn't make me happy, but that's what happened. And I'm only going to do a portion of this. I'm only going to cut like a stripe of it. So let me see if I can do that first. I have this one shamrock, well actually I have two, that I just can't seem to get the color to be consistent on it. So I'm going to see if I can do that and maybe clean it up a little bit. And I'm going to put clear embossing powder on it because I thought it'd be fun if my shamrocks were really shiny. That's my plan. And I'm only going to do the center section. Or at least that's my plan. Making sure that I only get close enough. Then we're just going to heat set it. And you know, when I heat set, I like to warm up my tool first and then take it to the card. But I don't think I'm going to make you wait through the whole thing. So what I'll do is I'll just warm it up for, I'll show you how long I hold it before I heat set something. And then I'll just start, and then I'll have Rich just blur it out so that you don't have to watch all of it. Now it's nice and shiny, and I'm going to take my paper trimmer and I'm going to hack off one side because you know I like to use professional terms when I'm doing something like this. So we're going to hack off this edge, I think right about there, and that should be straight. And I can get rid of that piece because obviously you're not going to use that again. If you would like to use this, I'd be happy to mail it to you, but in the meantime, I'm going to throw that out. So then my other piece, I'm just going to, I only want maybe a 2-inch wide piece. Hopefully I'm in camera. In frame, not in camera. If I was in the camera, that would not be a good thing. When you use embossed paper like this, you want to use some really good adhesive. So I'm going to use tear tape on the back of it just so I can make sure it sticks down. If you ever have trouble with your tear tape where you can't seem to pull off the backing, it just seems to pull off the whole piece of tape, it's because your edges aren't adhered. Like this has to be really well adhered, and then you can pick it off. But if it's not, it's really easy when you're doing it on embossed paper. But if it's not really pushed down on the end, then you're going to run into that problem where the backing and the tape comes off, just like that. And the other thing that's very helpful is if you have a pokey tool of some kind or tweezers, something that just has an edge that you can put underneath this and pull it off. That makes it a lot simpler to pull off the backing. Now my plan for this, which would have been a lot better if I had thought this through before, but I wanted to do some I wanted to take my distress inks and distress the edges. Let me grab some of my little cubes and we'll try that. So I took the tea dye ink from Distress Inks and I used this, I think it's a stencil brush, and I already brushed around the 2 or 3 sides of it, I guess 2.5 sides of it, and then I'm going to go around the 4th side, and I might end up coloring in the inside with it too a little bit, because it seems like it's more frisky when it has that brown inside there. If I don't like it, I could always get rid of it, right? I could do the whole thing over. Just saying, it could happen. My plan is to put this in the center. The first thing we're going to do is I've got my paper put in the MISTI where I want it, and I'm going to do 4 little lines out of the stamps that I just got from Inspired by Stamping, and it looks like that. They're all different little lines, and it's called Background Basic Lines, and I'm using this little one that has 4 lines on it. And I want to make sure that I really line this up well, because I'm going to turn the card around on the other edge and make sure that it's perfect on, you know, when I turn it around, I want it to be in the same spot. And I have it lined up on this grid, but you never know. I could screw it up at any chance I get, so I want to make sure I fix this. So I'm just going to turn it in ink. I like to make sure that when I have something important like this that I stamp them a couple times, just to be on the safe side, if you know what I mean. And I've already measured my element that I want to go in the center. I want this in the center, and I've already measured, and I know if I put this line on this side, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that, it'll look fine. It'll work perfectly. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to take off my magnets, and I'm just going to turn this around. Keep in mind that this is pigment ink I'm using. It's from Colorbox, and it's just called green pigment ink. I'm going to stamp these a couple times. Okay, I like embossing powder on this, and we'll make sure our lines are nice and dry because we'll have embossing powder on them. It's just a way to make sure that your ink doesn't smear or you don't have any problems with it after you've inked it, because you want to make sure that it doesn't come off. Ooh, that was priceless. I think I'm just going to dump this back in since I kind of missed things. And then second verse, same as the first. look pretty good. Alright, that's that, and for some reason I got a little speck there that's a little fuzzy. I don't know. I don't know why these things happen. Anyway, I'm going to be using this Happy St. Patty's Day and putting it on the center of this. But do you see how it has these little loops on it? I thought what I would do is take either silver or gold, because there's gold and silver on this, and like a thread, and wrap it around my card. Got that, like that. And I'm going to tie it in a knot. Okay, there's one side, and I'm going to cut the extra off. Hopefully you can see this when I get it done. Okay, so there's one side. That is my piece, and what I'm going to do is wrap it around here. I'm going to center it up on the card. Move it over a little bit more. It looks pretty good. Then with the string that's left over on the back, I'm going to just tape it down so that it stays there. Make sure this stays. I'm going to use some wider tear tape on this section. Let me take all the backing off this, and I'll be right back. So I think we're going to just put this right here in the center. I did put it up on fun foam, and then I put tear tape all over the back of that. If you don't think that's going to hold, and it might not, if you don't think it will, what I would do is I would put some wet glue behind it. If you think, like, I don't know if you can see that, but you see how that edge is kind of coming off when it is bent back. I would just put a little wet glue in there and then hold it down for just a minute or so. You just want to make sure that it's going to hold. You know, after I have this Happy St. Patty's Day, I have my creative times. I believe in leprechauns. It's a little sentiment that says, have a shamrocky, I think it says shamrocky good day, I don't know, but I thought that would be fun for us to put on the inside. And I'm going to use my little wee ink cube, Lucky Clover. Okay, I'm going to just stamp this down kind of near the top. Hopefully it's a little bit straight. If it's not even a little bit straight, well, we'll work with it. Look at all that green ink on my hand, on my fingernails. Ugh, what are you going to do? Have a shamrocking day is what it says. How funny is that? Okay, so that is that. And I don't know if I should do this or not, but you know how I did the tea dye on this? I think I'm going to do it on the edges of the card too. So if you want to start crying now about me messing up my card, you can go ahead. Now's the time though. If you're going to cry, you better do it fast, because I think I'm going to go for it bad. Depending on how you tilt these, you'll get more ink. I'll show you. If you tilt it more up and down, you're going to get a fine line of ink. But if you tilt it more like this along your edge, your line on your edge is going to be darker. So that's where we stand with that. I still could do the brush thing. Oh, should I do the brush? I really want to. You know, I really, really want to. I'm going to do it, because you know, who else is going to talk me out of it? None of you are going to be able to talk me out of it. You're too far away to talk me out of it. So I'll just do a little bit, and we'll see how badly I want to cry after I do a little bit. Oh, my ink pad's upside down. And we're only going to do a little, like the close to the edge. Okay. I have to be honest, I'm kind of digging it. I know at first you're probably thinking, don't do it, but I like it. There's something about that distressed look that just makes me happy. Okay, now I'm going to stamp the back. If I didn't tell you where I got these embellishments from, they were from Joann's fabric. Oh, look, I got some green on the back. That'll be just a little bonus for my sister. And then I'm also going to get, I think, some shamrocks peg stamps for on my envelope. Made for you by Sandy Parker. I have a small shamrock and a large shamrock. And I think I'm going to use the small shamrock. Maybe there's a large shamrock in this side of here. I'm going to use a large inside. I'm going to use my same Lucky Clover Distress ink. That's frisky. So that's that. And then put a large one there. A small one on either side. And on the front, we're going to do the same thing. Large one. So that's the back of our envelope, and there's the front. And here's our card. I hope if you like a little bit of St. Patrick's Day that you'll give a card like this a try. You'll give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.